Maya walked into the gym feeling nervous but excited. The cheerleading team was already gathered in a circle, stretching and chatting. She recognized Jessica from lunch, who was leading what appeared to be a team meeting. When Coach Patterson spotted Maya, she waved her over. "Ladies, we have a new student who might be joining our team. This is Maya Rivera. She just moved here from Virginia and has quite an impressive background in gymnastics and cheerleading." The girls looked up with varying degrees of interest. Some smiled politely, while others seemed to size her up immediately. Jessica's expression was harder to read, but Maya caught something in her eyes that made her stomach tighten slightly. "Why don't you show us what you can do?" Coach Patterson suggested, gesturing toward the open mat area. Maya took a deep breath and walked to the center of the gym. She had done this dozens of times before at different schools, but it never got easier. She started with some basic tumbling passes, warming up with handsprings and round-offs. Then she moved into more advanced skills, throwing a series of back handsprings followed by a full twist that landed perfectly. The gym fell silent. Even Jessica looked impressed, though she tried to hide it. A few of the younger girls on the team actually gasped when Maya stuck her landing. "Wow," Coach Patterson said, her voice filled with genuine excitement. "That was exactly what we've been looking for. How would you feel about being our new tumbler for the competition routines?" Before Maya could answer, Jessica stepped forward. "Coach, don't we usually have tryouts? I mean, officially?" "You're right, Jessica. But given Maya's clear skill level and our need for advanced tumblers, I think we can make an exception, unless anyone has strong objections." The gym stayed quiet, but Maya could feel the tension in the air. She noticed a few girls exchanging glances, and Jessica's smile looked forced. "Of course not, Coach," Jessica finally said. "Welcome to the team, Maya." The practice continued with Maya learning some basic cheers and formations. She picked up the routines quickly, her years of experience showing. But she couldn't shake the feeling that not everyone was happy about her being there. After practice, while Maya was packing up her water bottle, a few of the girls approached her. There was Brittany, a junior with dark hair pulled back in a tight ponytail, and Ashley, a sophomore who seemed to follow Jessica's lead in everything. "So, military family?" Brittany asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. "Yeah, my dad's in the Navy. We move around a lot for his job." "Must be nice," Ashley said, but something in her voice made it sound like an accusation rather than a compliment. "Getting to travel everywhere, having everything paid for." Maya felt confused. It's not really like that. Moving is actually pretty hard. You never get to keep friends for very long, and you're always starting over. "Right," Brittany said with a fake smile. "Well, we'll see how you fit in here. Riverside is pretty different from other places." As the girls walked away, Maya heard Ashley whisper something to Brittany that made them both laugh. She couldn't make out the words, but the tone was clear enough. Over the next few days, Maya tried to settle into her new routine. Her classes were going well, and she was starting to feel more comfortable with the school layout. But something was off with the cheerleading team. It started small. During practice, Maya would find that her water bottle had been moved, or her bag would be in a different spot than where she left it. When she mentioned it to Coach Patterson, she was told that things sometimes got shifted around during practice. Then came the accidents. During a formation practice, Ashley accidentally stepped on Maya's foot while they were learning new positions. During tumbling drills, Brittany somehow ended up in Maya's landing space, causing Maya to have to adjust her routine midair to avoid a collision. "Sorry," they would always say with wide, innocent eyes. "I'm still learning the new spacing," but Maya had been doing this long enough to know the difference between genuine mistakes and deliberate sabotage. The social exclusion was more subtle, but just as effective. The team had a group chat that Maya somehow never got added to. She would arrive at practice to find that plans had been made or changes had been announced that she wasn't aware of. When she asked about it, she was told they forgot to include her, or that it must have been a technical problem. Jessica remained friendly on the surface, especially when Coach Patterson was around. She would compliment Maya's tumbling and talk about how excited she was to incorporate new skills into their routines. But when the coach wasn't watching, her attitude shifted completely. You know, Jessica said one afternoon as they were changing after practice. Some of the girls are having trouble adjusting to changes in the team dynamic. Maya looked up from tying her shoes. What do you mean? Well, you have to understand. We've been together for years. We have our own way of doing things. Sometimes when new people come in and try to change everything right away, it creates tension. I'm not trying to change anything. I'm just doing what Coach Patterson asks me to do. Jessica's smile was cold. Of course. I'm just saying that maybe you should be more aware of how your actions affect other people. This isn't the military, Maya. We don't just follow orders here without thinking about feelings. That night, Maya lay in bed thinking about Jessica's words. She pulled out her phone and typed a message to her dad, then deleted it. She didn't want to worry him with small problems when he was dealing with much bigger issues overseas. Instead, she called her mom, who was working a late shift at the hospital. "How was practice, honey?" Linda asked when she picked up. "It was fine," Maya said, then paused. "Mom, do you think I'm too intense sometimes?" "What do you mean?" "I don't know. Maybe I come on too strong when I join new groups. Maybe people think I'm trying to take over or something." Linda was quiet for a moment. "Maya, sweetie, you've never had trouble making friends before. What's really going on?" Maya sighed. "It's probably nothing. Just some girls on the team who seem like they don't want me there." "Have they said something to you?" "Not exactly. It's more like they act friendly when the coach is around, but when she's not, they're different. They exclude me from things, or they make little comments that make me feel like I don't belong." Linda's voice became more serious. "That's not okay, Maya. Have you talked to your coach about this?" "What would I say? They're not doing anything. I can really prove it's just a feeling. Sometimes feelings are the most important thing to pay attention to. Your instincts are usually right about people." After hanging up with her mom, Maya felt a little better but still unsure about what to do. She had dealt with mean girls before at other schools, but this felt different somehow, more organized, more deliberate. The next day at lunch, Maya was sitting with Katie again when she overheard a conversation from the table behind her. "I heard she thinks she's better than everyone else because her dad's in the military," someone was saying. "Yeah, and did you see how she just walked in and got a spot on the team without even trying out like the rest of us had to?" Jessica says. "She's been complaining about our routines, saying they're too easy." Maya's face burned with embarrassment. None of that was true, but she couldn't exactly turn around and defend herself without making the situation worse. Katie must have noticed her expression because she leaned over and whispered, "Don't listen to them. People here love to gossip about new kids. It'll die down." But Maya had a sinking feeling that this was just the beginning. 2 weeks into October, things got worse. Maya walked into the locker room before practice to find her cheerleading uniform hanging in shreds from her locker. The fabric had been carefully cut in multiple places, making it completely unwearable. She stood there for a moment, just staring at the destroyed uniform. Her hands shook slightly as she touched the torn material. This wasn't an accident or a prank. This was deliberate destruction of her property. "Oh my gosh, Maya. What happened?" Ashley's voice came from behind her, but Maya could hear the fake concern. Other girls started gathering around, making shocked noises and asking questions. Jessica appeared at Maya's shoulder, putting on a perfect performance of sympathy. "This is terrible. Who would do something like this?" Jessica said, her voice carrying just far enough for everyone to hear. "Maybe someone broke into the locker room? We should tell Coach Patterson right away." Maya wanted to scream. She knew exactly who had done this, but she couldn't prove it. And now Jessica was playing the concerned teammate, making sure everyone saw her being supportive. Coach Patterson was furious when she saw the uniform. "This is completely unacceptable. I'm reporting this to the principal immediately. Maya, don't worry about the cost of replacement. The school will handle it." But Maya wasn't worried about the money. She was worried about what this meant. The harassment was escalating, and she felt completely alone. That afternoon, while Maya was at her locker after school, she found a note slipped through the vents. It was written in block letters on plain paper. Go back where you came from. Nobody wants you here. Maya's heart pounded as she read the words. She looked around the hallway, but it was mostly empty except for a few students at distant lockers. Anyone could have put the note there. She crumpled it up and threw it in the trash, but the words stayed in her head for the rest of the day. At dinner that night, Linda noticed Maya pushing her food around her plate without eating. Everything okay, sweetheart? Maya considered telling her mom about the uniform and the note, but she stopped herself. Her mom was already working double shifts at the hospital to help with expenses while her dad was deployed. She didn't need more stress. Just tired, Maya said. Long day. But that night Maya barely slept. She kept thinking about the note and wondering what would happen next. The answer came during lunch the following day. Maya was sitting with Katie and a few other students she had started to become friendly with when her phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged her in a social media post. She opened the app and felt her stomach drop. It was a photo of her from cheerleading practice, but someone had edited it to make her look foolish. They had added unflattering text and posted it with a caption that read, "When the new girl thinks she's better than everyone else." The post already had dozens of likes and comments. Maya scrolled through them, each one feeling like a punch to the gut. She's so full of herself. I heard she was complaining about our routines to the coach. Why did they even let her on the team without trying out? Military brats always think they're special. Maya's hands were shaking as she read comment after comment. None of it was true, but it didn't matter. The damage was already done. Katie leaned over to see what Maya was looking at and gasped. Maya, this is horrible. You need to report this. To who? Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The principal who's going to tell me it's just teenage drama? What about Coach Patterson? Maya shook her head. She can't control what people post on social media. And besides, they'll just say it was a joke or that I'm being too sensitive. The rest of the school day was a nightmare. Maya could feel people staring at her in the hallways. She heard whispered conversations that stopped when she walked by. During her last class, she noticed students looking at their phones and then glancing at her. By the time she got to cheerleading practice, the post had been shared multiple times and had over 100 comments. Maya felt sick to her stomach, but she tried to focus on practice and ignore the look she was getting from some of the girls. Coach Patterson had them working on a new routine for the upcoming homecoming game. It was more advanced than their usual performances, incorporating several of Maya's tumbling skills as featured elements. Maya, I want you to anchor the pyramid sequence, Coach Patterson announced. Your stability and strength make you perfect for the base position. Maya nodded, trying to concentrate on the technical aspects of the routine, but she could feel the tension from Jessica and her friends. They had been the center of every routine for years, and now Maya was being featured prominently. During the ice pyramid practice, things went wrong quickly. As Maya was supporting two girls above her, she felt someone's foot slip, but instead of the usual controlled recovery, both girls came down hard, with one of them landing directly on Maya's back. Maya hit the mat face first, feeling a sharp pain shoot through her shoulder and down her arm. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Oh no. Maya, are you okay? Jessica's voice was full of concern, but when Maya looked up, she caught a glimpse of satisfaction in Jessica's eyes before the mask of worry slipped back into place. Coach Patterson rushed over, helping Maya. Sit up slowly. What happened up there? I lost my footing, said Brittany, who had been one of the girls in the pyramid. I'm so sorry, Maya. It was a complete accident. Maya wanted to say that it hadn't felt like an accident. The way Brittany had shifted, her weight, the timing of the fall, the force with which they had both come down, it all felt deliberate. But she couldn't prove it, and accusing her teammates would only make things worse. Let's get you to the nurse, Coach Patterson said, helping Maya to her feet. The school nurse examined Maya's shoulder and determined it was badly bruised but not seriously injured. She gave Maya an ice pack and suggested she take it easy for a few days. You might want to sit out practice tomorrow, the nurse advised. Give your body time to recover. As Maya walked to her locker after the nurse's visit, she felt more defeated than she ever had at any of her previous schools. The physical pain in her shoulder was nothing compared to the emotional exhaustion she felt. She pulled out her phone and looked at the social media post again. It now had over 200 comments and several people had shared it to their own pages. The humiliation felt overwhelming. Maya found herself thinking about her dad's advice about handling difficult situations. Sometimes you have to be strategic, he had told her once. Fighting every battle isn't always the right approach. Sometimes you have to wait for the right moment to make your move. But how long could she wait? How much more could she take? That evening, Maya sat in her room trying to do homework, but she couldn't concentrate. Every few minutes, her phone would buzz with another notification, another comment, another share, another reminder that she had become the target of the entire school's entertainment. She finally turned off her phone and lay down on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow would bring another day of stares, whispers, and whatever new harassment Jessica and her friends had planned. For the first time since moving to Riverside, Maya seriously considered asking her mom if they could move again. Maybe it would be easier to start over somewhere else than to keep fighting a battle. She felt like she was losing. Maya woke up on Friday morning with her shoulder still aching from the pyramid incident. She had barely slept, tossing and turning as she replayed the events of the past few weeks in her mind. The social media post had been shared so many times that kids from other schools were now commenting on it. She dragged herself to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Dark circles under her eyes told the story of too many sleepless nights. She had lost weight too, her appetite disappearing along with her confidence. "Maya, breakfast is ready," her mom called from downstairs. Maya forced herself to get dressed and go downstairs where Linda was packing her lunch for work. Her mom took one look at her and immediately became concerned. "Honey, you look exhausted. Are you feeling okay?" "I'm fine, Mom. Just didn't sleep well." Linda studied her daughter's face more carefully. "Maya, what's really going on? You've been different these past few weeks. You barely eat, you're always tired, and you seem sad." Maya felt tears threatening behind her eyes, but she blinked them back. "It's nothing, Mom. Just adjusting to the new school." "Is someone bothering you?" The question hung in the air. Maya wanted to tell her everything, about Jessica and her friends, about the uniform, the note, the social media harassment, the accidents during practice. But her mom was already stressed about Dad being deployed and working extra shifts. Maya didn't want to add to her worries. "No, Mom, everything's fine." Linda didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. "Okay, but you know you can talk to me about anything, right?" Maya nodded and grabbed her backpack, heading out the door before her mom could ask more questions. At school, the stares seemed worse than ever. Maya kept her head down as she walked through the hallways, trying to ignore the whispered conversations that stopped when she passed by. During her morning classes, she caught several students looking at their phones and then glancing at her with smirks on their faces. By lunchtime, Maya felt like she was suffocating. She couldn't face sitting in the cafeteria with everyone watching her, so she decided to eat in the library instead. But even there, she couldn't escape the feeling of being watched and judged. Katie found her hiding in the back corner of the library, picking at a sandwich she had no appetite for. "There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you." Katie sat down across from Maya, her expression serious. "Maya, we need to talk." "About what?" "About what's been happening to you. I know you keep saying everything's fine, but it's not. I've seen how Jessica and her friends treat you. I've seen the social media posts, and now I'm hearing rumors that are getting worse and worse." Maya looked up. "What kind of rumors?" Katie hesitated. "People are saying things about your family, about why you really moved here. Some kids are claiming your dad got in trouble in the military and that's why you had to leave Virginia." Maya felt like she'd been punched in the stomach. "That's not true. My dad is one of the most decorated officers in his unit. He's deployed, overseas serving his country. I know that, and anyone with half a brain would know that. But Jessica's been spreading these stories, and some people are believing them." Maya put her head in her hands. It was one thing for them to attack her, but going after her father's reputation was crossing a line she never imagined they would cross. "There's something else," Katie continued gently. I overheard Ashley and Brittany talking in the bathroom yesterday. They're planning something for the homecoming game next week. Something they called the perfect finale. I don't know what it is, but they seemed really excited about it. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. What do you think they're planning? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not going to be good for you. Maya, you need to tell someone about this. A teacher, the principal, your mom, someone. That afternoon during cheerleading practice, Maya tried to pay attention to what Jessica and her friends were whispering about, but they were being careful to keep their voices low. Coach Patterson had them running through the homecoming routine, multiple times, making small adjustments and perfecting the timing. This is going to be our best performance yet, Coach Patterson said proudly. Maya, your tumbling sequences are really going to wow the crowd. I'm so glad you joined our team. Maya tried to smile, but she noticed the dark looks Jessica was giving her. During a water break, she overheard Jessica talking to Ashley. Don't worry, Jessica was saying. After next Friday, everything will go back to normal. That evening, Maya sat in her room trying to focus on homework, but her mind kept wandering to Katie's warning about Jessica's plans. She picked up her phone several times to call her mom, but each time she put it back down. Finally, around 9 p.m., her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and felt her heart skip a beat. It was her dad, calling from overseas. Hey, kiddo. How's my favorite cheerleader doing? Just hearing his voice made Maya feel better than she had in weeks. Hi, Dad. I'm okay. You don't sound okay. What's going on? Maya had always been terrible at lying to her father. He could read her emotions even through a phone call from thousands of miles away. It's nothing major, Dad, just some drama with girls at school. Maya, talk to me. What kind of drama? She found herself telling him everything. About Jessica and her friends, about the harassment, the destroyed uniform, the social media posts, the rumors about their family. Once she started talking, it all came pouring out. Her father listened without interrupting, but Maya could hear his breathing getting heavier as she described what had been happening. Maya, why didn't you tell me about this sooner? I didn't want to worry you while you're deployed. You have enough to deal with. Listen to me very carefully, her father said, his voice taking on the tone he used when giving orders. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is more important to me than your safety and well-being. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. Good. Now, I want you to document everything that's happened. Write it all down with dates and times. Save screenshots of those social media posts. And first thing Monday morning, I want you and your mother to meet with the principal. Dad, I don't think the principal will. Maya, trust me on this. Things are going to change. I'm going to make some phone calls tonight. What kind of phone calls? Don't worry about that right now. Just focus on staying safe and documenting everything. And Maya? Yes? I'm proud of you for handling this as well as you have. You're stronger than you know. But you don't have to handle this alone anymore. After hanging up with her father, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. She didn't know exactly what her dad was planning, but she knew he never made promises he couldn't keep. She spent the next hour writing down everything that had happened, creating a detailed timeline of the harassment. For the first time since the bullying started, Maya felt like she wasn't completely powerless, but she also felt nervous about what Jessica and her friends were planning for the homecoming game. Whatever it was, Maya had a feeling it was going to be their biggest attack yet. As she got ready for bed, Maya looked at the photo of her and her dad from the Navy ball. Help is coming, she whispered to herself. Just hang on a little longer. Monday morning came faster than Maya expected. She had spent the weekend organizing all her documentation, screenshots, and notes about the harassment. Her stomach was in knots as she and her mother walked into Riverside High School together. Linda had been shocked when Maya finally told her everything that had been happening. Why didn't you come to me sooner? She had asked, holding Maya close as they sat on the couch Sunday night. I didn't want to worry you while Dad was deployed and you were working so much. Maya, baby, you are my #1 priority. Always. Work and everything else comes second to you. Now they sat in the principal's office waiting for Mr. Henderson to review the documentation Maya had prepared. The principal was a thin man in his 50s who had been running the school for over a decade. He seemed overwhelmed as he flipped through the papers. "This is quite extensive," he said finally. "But you have to understand, most of these incidents could be explained as typical teenage conflicts or misunderstandings." Linda leaned forward in her chair. "Mr. Henderson, someone destroyed my daughter's uniform. Someone left threatening notes in her locker. She's being harassed on social media with posts that have been shared hundreds of times. This isn't typical teenage behavior. Well, the uniform incident was unfortunate, but we have no proof of who did it. And as for social media, that's really outside the school's jurisdiction." Maya felt her heart sinking. This was exactly what she had expected. Mr. Henderson was going to dismiss everything just like before. "What about the deliberate injury during cheerleading practice?" Linda continued. "My daughter was hurt because girls deliberately caused a pyramid to collapse on her. Now, Mrs. Rivera, accidents happen in sports all the time. I can't punish students for what might have been a genuine mistake." Linda was about to respond when there was a knock on the office door. Mr. Henderson's secretary poked her head in. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a Commander Rivera here to see you. He says it's regarding his daughter's situation." Maya's heart nearly stopped. "Dad?" The door opened wider, and there he was. Commander David Rivera in his dress uniform, looking every inch the decorated Navy SEAL he was. His presence immediately changed the entire atmosphere in the room. "Mr. Henderson," he said, stepping forward with his hand extended. "I'm Commander Rivera. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us." Mr. Henderson stood up quickly, clearly, recognizing the authority that walked into his office. "Commander Rivera, we weren't expecting you. I thought you were deployed overseas." "I was. I flew back yesterday specifically to address this situation with my daughter." David's voice was calm but carried an unmistakable edge. "I trust you've had a chance to review the documentation my wife and daughter provided?" "Yes, well, we were just discussing." "Good. Then you understand that what's been happening to Maya constitutes a clear pattern of harassment and bullying that has escalated to the point where her safety and well-being are at risk." Mr. Henderson shifted uncomfortably. "Commander, I understand your concerns, but let me stop you right there." David's voice remained calm, but Maya could see the steel in his eyes. "I've spent the last 2 days making some calls. I've spoken with the school board, the district superintendent, and several other officials who were very interested to hear about the situation here at Riverside High." The principal's face went pale. "I see. I've also been in contact with the parents of the students involved. Turns out Jessica Walsh's father and I had a very enlightening conversation yesterday evening. Apparently, he wasn't aware of his daughter's behavior, but he's now very motivated to correct it." Maya looked at her father in amazement. In just 2 days, he had managed to do what she couldn't do in weeks of trying to handle the situation herself. "Furthermore," David continued, "I've reviewed your school's anti-bullying policies, and I have to say, I'm disappointed in how this situation has been handled. My daughter came to you for help, and she was dismissed. That's not acceptable." "Commander Rivera, I assure you, Mr. Henderson, I'm not here to assign blame or make threats. I'm here to ensure that this situation is resolved immediately, and that proper measures are put in place to prevent it from happening again." There was another knock on the door, and Coach Patterson entered looking flustered. "Mr. Henderson, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just heard that Commander Rivera was here." "Commander, I had no idea what was happening to Maya. If I had known—" "Coach Patterson," David said, his tone softening slightly, "I understand that you weren't aware of the full extent of the situation, but I think we need to have a serious discussion about team dynamics and supervision." Over the next hour, David methodically went through each incident Maya had documented. He presented evidence, requested explanations, and made it clear that he expected immediate action. Maya watched in awe as her father took control of the situation with the same precision he probably used in military operations. By the end of the meeting, several things had been decided. Jessica, Ashley, and Brittany would face suspension and would be required to attend mandatory counseling sessions about bullying and its consequences. They would also be removed from the cheerleading team for the remainder of the semester. But homecoming is this Friday, Coach Patterson protested. We can't perform our routine without them. Then you'll have to adjust, David said simply. Actions have consequences. The social media harassment would be addressed through the district's new cyberbullying policy, which had apparently been strengthened significantly after David's calls to the school board. Mr. Henderson also agreed to implement additional supervision during cheerleading practices and to create a more effective reporting system for bullying incidents. As they left the principal's office, Maya felt like she could breathe freely for the first time in weeks. But the real test came that afternoon when she walked into school. For her regular classes, word had spread quickly about what had happened in the principal's office. Maya expected to face angry looks and whispered threats from Jessica's friends. But instead, something surprising happened. Students who had previously ignored her or joined in the harassment now seemed almost apologetic. A few even approached her to say they were sorry for how she had been treated. I never should have shared that post, one girl told her at lunch. I didn't really think about how it would make you feel. Katie was thrilled when Maya told her what had happened. Your dad sounds amazing. I can't believe he flew back from deployment just to handle this. He said family always comes first, no matter what else is going on. That afternoon at cheerleading practice, the atmosphere was completely different. Coach Patterson addressed the team directly about what had been happening and made it clear that bullying of any kind would not be tolerated. We're going to rebuild this team based on respect and support for each other, she announced, and we're going to start by apologizing to Maya for failing to protect her. The apologies that followed weren't all sincere, Maya could tell, but they were a start. More importantly, she no longer felt like she was facing the harassment alone. That evening, the Rivera family sat together at dinner for the first time in months. David had been granted emergency leave to stay home for a few weeks and help Maya readjust. So how was your first day of the new normal? He asked. Different, Maya said, smiling for the first time in weeks. People actually talked to me instead of talking about me. And how did that feel? Like I can finally be myself again. David reached across the table and squeezed her hand. You never stopped being yourself, kiddo. You just forgot how strong you are. But now everyone else knows too. Maya looked at her parents and felt grateful not just for their support, but for the lesson she had learned about speaking up when something is wrong. She had tried to handle everything alone, but sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. Maya was enjoying her first quiet Saturday morning in weeks when her phone started buzzing like crazy. She was still in her pajamas, coffee cup in hand, planning to spend the day working on her art portfolio. The caller ID showed her cousin Elena's name, and something in Maya's gut told her this wasn't going to be a casual check-in call. Maya, oh my God, I need your help so bad right now. Elena's voice came through the phone, shaky and desperate. Maya could hear retching sounds in the background, which immediately made her sit up straight. Elena, what's wrong? Are you sick? I'm dying here. Food poisoning from that new sushi place downtown. I've been throwing up for the past 3 hours and I can barely stand up. Elena's voice was weak and Maya could tell she was really suffering. But Maya, I have this huge pickup this morning. Like, career-ending huge if I mess this up. Maya set down her coffee cup, already sensing where this conversation was heading. Elena worked for Premium Executive Transport, one of those fancy car services that rich business people used when they didn't want to deal with regular taxis or ride shares. Elena had worked hard to get that job after losing her previous one, and Maya knew how much it meant to her cousin's financial stability. Tell me what you need, Maya said, even though part of her was already dreading the answer. I need you to do the pickup for me. Please, Maya. I know it sounds crazy, but I literally cannot get out of bed without feeling like I'm going to pass out. And this client, he's some big shot CEO flying in from Singapore. If I don't show up, they'll fire me for sure. Maya walked to her window, looking out at the busy Chicago street below. She had exactly zero experience as a professional driver. Sure, she had a clean driving record and a reliable car, but picking up some important business executive, that was way outside her comfort zone. Elena, I don't know anything about being a professional driver. What if I mess something up? What if this guy expects certain things that I don't know about? You won't mess up. You're responsible and smart, and honestly, the job isn't that complicated. You just need to pick him up from O'Hare, be polite, and drive him to his hotel downtown. That's it. I do this stuff all the time, and you're way more put together than half the drivers at my company. Maya could hear Elena getting sick again in the background, and her heart went out to her cousin. Elena was a single mom trying to make ends meet, and this job was one of the better-paying gigs she'd ever landed. Losing it over food poisoning seemed incredibly unfair. Okay, walk me through exactly what I need to do, Maya said, grabbing a pen and paper. Elena's relief was obvious in her voice. Thank you so much, Maya. You're literally saving my life here. Okay, so his name is James Chen. He's the CEO of some big tech company called Tech Vision Industries. His flight lands at 10:30 coming from Singapore, so he'll probably be tired and want a quiet ride. Maya scribbled down the details. James Chen, Tech Vision Industries, 10:30 arrival. Got it. He'll be looking for someone with a sign. I usually make a simple sign with just their last name on it. So make one that says Chen in big letters. He's supposed to be tall, probably wearing a business suit, and he'll have a briefcase. Most of these executive types look pretty similar, to be honest. What about the car situation? I can't exactly show up in my little Honda Civic for some CEO, right? No, you'll take my car. It's the black sedan I use for work. It's not fancy, but it's clean and professional looking. I'll text you my address and you can pick up the keys from under the flower pot by my front door. I'm too sick to come to the door, but I'll leave everything you need. Maya was already mentally calculating how long it would take her to get ready, drive to Elena's place, and then make it to the airport on time. What do I wear? How do I act? Do I open doors for him? Do I make conversation or stay quiet? Just dress nice but not too fancy, like business casual. Black pants, nice blouse, something like that. Be polite but not chatty unless he starts a conversation. Open the back door for him when he gets to the car, help with his luggage if he needs it, and ask if he wants the radio on or off. Most of these guys are on their phones the whole time anyway. Elena paused to catch her breath, and Maya could tell even talking was exhausting for her cousin. The destination is the Marriott downtown, the big one on Michigan Avenue. He's got some important meetings there, something about a merger deal. Just get him there safely and professionally, and you'll be fine. Maya looked at her reflection. In the hallway mirror, her hair was a mess, she had no makeup on, and she was wearing her oldest pajamas. The idea of transforming herself into a professional driver in the next hour felt overwhelming. Elena, what if he realizes I'm not you? What if he asks questions about the company, or wants to talk about previous rides? Just keep it simple. If he asks, tell him you're filling in for Elena Rodriguez, who's out sick. Most clients don't really care about the details as long as they get where they're going safely and on time. And Maya, this guy is paying premium rates for this service. The tip alone could be more than I make in a regular day. That got Maya's attention. As a freelance graphic designer, money was always tight, and she'd been struggling to find steady work lately. If this went well, maybe it could even lead to more opportunities. All right, I'll do it. But you owe me big time for this. I'll pay you whatever the company pays me for the ride, plus you keep any tip he gives you. And Maya, I can't thank you. Enough. You're literally saving my job here. After hanging up, Maya rushed to get ready. She chose her most professional-looking outfit, black dress pants, a crisp white blouse, and comfortable black flats that would be good for driving. She put on minimal makeup, pulled her hair back into a neat ponytail, and grabbed her purse and phone. The drive to Elena's apartment took 20 minutes through weekend traffic. Elena lived in a modest neighborhood on the north side, and Maya had been to her place many times for family gatherings. Finding the keys under the flower pot felt like something out of a movie, but there they were, along with a hastily written note from Elena with the client's flight information and the company's emergency contact number. Elena's work car was a black four-door sedan, nothing fancy but clean and well-maintained. Maya adjusted the seat and mirrors, familiarized herself with the controls, and checked the gas tank. Elena had left a professional-looking clipboard on the passenger seat with the company's logo and some official-looking paperwork. The drive to O'Hare took longer than expected due to construction, and Maya found herself getting nervous as she navigated the complicated airport pickup area. She'd been to the airport before, but never as a professional driver trying to find the right terminal and parking area. She parked in the designated pickup zone and quickly made a sign using a piece of cardboard from Elena's car and a thick black marker. Chen, in large, clear letters. It looked amateur compared to the fancy printed signs the other drivers were holding, but it would have to do. Standing in the arrivals area, surrounded by professional drivers in crisp uniforms, Maya felt completely out of place. Her hands were sweating as she held up the sign, hoping she looked more confident than she felt. The international arrivals area was busy with travelers, families greeting loved ones, and other drivers waiting for their clients. Maya checked her phone for the 10th time. The flight had landed on schedule, so James Chen should be coming through customs any minute now. She took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and tried to look professional. After all, how hard could it be to drive one businessman to his hotel